like one?
Hey, I got a question. What about
Like one? Slavery was once tolerated in our culture.
What's up?
Because slavery was once legal in our culture, and now this is legal in our culture.
What about like people's individual rights? Like, if a woman has a right to her body.
She has a right to her body, but this is not her body. It's another human being. That's a big distinction.
I guess it's like, when do you consider something like completely living? Because the baby is living off of the mother's like womb and body. So it's a tough question.
No, it's not a tough question when you consider that it's a human being, a person from the moment of fertilization. The child is living off of his or her mother, just like we have people living off of many different things in this world, but we don't say that they're not persons. You have people living off ventilators, they're living off oxygen tanks, and living off, you have people in the hospitals who are hooked up to all kinds of machines and tubes, and we don't say they're not persons just because they're hooked up to something.
But I guess maybe like, if you have like a conscious mind, you don't really develop that until you're older.
Well, there's a lot of people outside the womb who have the same thing. They're not conscious. They're not aware of what's going on, but we don't murder them, do we? Some do, I guess, but we don't say that they're not human beings. Maybe just that they have something that their mind isn't less developed, or...
I think there's a certain point in a pregnancy where it's wrong to deliver because...
Wrong to deliver?
Right, like where it should be like stop. But I think there is a point, like after 20 weeks, but your brain doesn't start, like your body doesn't start developing until like at least 12 weeks of like, like once pregnancy starts. So what about somebody who's pregnant and they're only 6 weeks pregnant? Because then there's the fetal parts have not even developed yet.
So what's the question?
So at 6 weeks, you still think that that's considered a living, like a living being?
It's a human being because, you started and I started at the moment of fertilization. We didn't start our life at 6 weeks, at 12 weeks, at 20 weeks. We started at the moment of fertilization. When the mother's egg was fertilized by the father's sperm. That's when our life began. And people can say, well, I think this, I think that.
When you like, for somebody who's not trying to have a pregnancy and they get pregnant, I think there's a certain number of weeks, and I would say like at least 20 weeks, or even 6 weeks is most people would probably decide by the time they're 6 weeks pregnant whether they want to have, whether they want to like proceed with pregnancy or not.
Well, what if she does want to be a mother?
What if she what?
What if she does want to be pregnant? What if she does want to be a mother?
If she does, then she should have the child. Yeah.
Why? Why should we base it on her feelings, on her subjective feelings?
I think the decision to have the child was also hers too. I mean,
well, it was hers and the father's, right? They both chose to have sex.
Yeah, so there should be like if there's a mutual understanding between the two persons that are creating the life. I mean, obviously there's, at some point, God does come into play.
Well, he's the author of life, but he uses human beings, a mother and a father.
But how do you solve the problem of like overpopulation then?
I just solved by saying this, it's a myth, it's a lie. This world's not overpopulated.
By doing what?
By just saying it's a lie. If you read the Bible, overpopulation is not a problem. The problem is that, well, especially here in America, we're killing ourselves. We're through birth control, through surgical abortion, through in vitro fertilization, we're killing ourselves. In fact, the only reason our population is increasing is through immigration. Because if we left it up to ourselves, we would.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're not talking about just this country, I mean, there's billions of people all over the world. Like China has a population problem. Like it's not the immigration in China, so.
Well, I mean, who's saying they're overpopulated? I mean, people say that, but I mean, there's no one starving to death here in America that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
I mean, if they are, then it's because they're not going to where there's food, because we have plenty of food in this country.
Yeah, this country has a lot, man. Like I've been to, I've been to India, where, I mean, it's a completely different life out there. I mean, people are living like hut to hut, and it's a lot of like education. I mean, people don't understand that like a child creates a lot of not like pollution, but there's like they leave a footprint. So there's like 1 billion people in India that can't. I mean, I think somewhere there they should probably figure out how to decrease the population. And I think they do need abortions for people who have like unnecessary pregnancies. But it was a pleasure, man. Good speaking to you.
I'll just say there's never a reason to murder a child. I mean, if you can think of a good reason